Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. My name's Evan. Today I'm joined with Weaver, Joel, and Nick. And today we're going to be doing our 2023 NFL season predictions. We did last year. We did season predictions, and that video did really well. So we're bringing them back for this year. We're going to be splitting it up into a couple of videos because they could very well be a 3-hour podcast. So
At least,
yeah. So we're going to split it up NFC, AFC. Then we're going to do some playoff predictions and award predictions later as well. So stay tuned for that. But before we begin, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at lunchtable.takes, and to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We're getting close to 100 subscribers, which is what our goal. So we're at like 79 right now, so we're getting there. So just help us to reach that. And yeah, we'll start off with the NFC today. NFC East is the first division we're going to go with. We will shoot it your way. What's your NFC East looking like?
Yeah, I don't think this is hard. I have the Eagles winning. They have the Georgia Bulldogs defense. All of those guys are just absolute freaks.
It's the Georgia Eagles.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, we saw them play last year. They were undefeated for the first half of the season. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, beautiful duo. They got DeAndre Swift in the backfield now. There's not really a lot to say here. I think everybody saw them last year, and they're going to be just as good, if not better. So I have them 15-2 again. That was really high, but that's just kind of how it shook out for me. But I have them taking the division, obviously, with that number. And then, do you want to just list off the whole?
Go off the floor.
So second, I have the Cowboys in second. And I'm not particularly high on the Cowboys because I think they underwhelm like every single year. Like they're always really good in the regular season, and then they get to the playoffs and they just are terrible and blow it. So I have them at 8-9. They go 3-3 in the division.
That's wild.
That is
to
wild.
me.
8-9
below 500.
That's how it shook out for me, man. I don't know how, but that's just how it went.
They do have a tough schedule this year, though.
Well, I think that's why, because I went through like each one of their each week, and I mean, just picked who I thought was going to win, and that's what it turned out to be.
I think they drew the AFC West this year.
Oh yeah, that's not what you want
they
then.
did.
That's what I thought.
NFC East drew the AFC West.
Yeah, that's not really what.
because
you
they
want.
played.
That's not ideal.
They played the Chiefs.
And
And I really don't think Dak Prescott is absolutely not the guy. Dak Prescott is terrible. So like,
Well,
he's
been struggling in camp.
yeah, he's terrible.
Well, but you got to give him a little bit of slack coming in. You've worked under Kellen Moore for how long now?
That doesn't really matter.
I'm not giving him much slack. I think he's terrible.
Chargers now.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, I don't think there's ever been a quarterback in the history of the NFL.
McCarthy's offense is different.
I don't think there's ever been a quarterback in the history of the NFL to miss 5 games and still lead the league in picks by like a fair margin. Like that is
It was a rough season.
that's unreal, terrible. So Dak Prescott's absolutely not the guy. He's terrible. I mean, they have a very talented roster, but this is just the story for the Cowboys. 3 here, I have the Giants, and I'm not really a big fan of this one either, because I mean they made the playoffs somehow last year, but I have them at 7-9.
10,
7-10.
because they're 17.
Yeah, 7-10. I don't think Daniel Jones is very good. I don't really think he's the guy either. I think he is overpaid. I think he is a below mid. He doesn't suck, but he's below mid tier. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl, and I don't think he's going to win you a lot of playoff games. But I think he's serviceable. You know, he's kind of in that tier. Heavily overpaid. I don't think the Giants really have too much offensively to write home about. I mean, I know they just got Darren Waller, but
Saquon and a O-line.
Yeah. I was more so thinking like receiving
Yeah,
threats.
they don't have any receiving threats.
I mean, they got Jalen Hyatt, but he's a rookie.
Isaiah Hodgins.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't even know what their rotation's
Harris
looking
Campbell.
Yeah, so
you
I'm not.
don't know what's going to be.
I'm not like a huge fan of the Giants this year, but I don't have them sucking. And then now, speaking of sucking, last in the division, I have the Commanders, and this might be a little bit low, but I mean they're pretty bad. I have them at 3-14.
Okay.
I mean, I think their quarterback situation is like pretty terrible. I mean, I know that there's been whispers of Sam Howell like being the guy and like not sucking, but I don't believe it. until I actually see it proven on the field. Chase Young has been incredibly underwhelming of the second overall pick. Injuries because of injuries.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, injuries. Whether he's it's either way he hasn't met the mark.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and this is kind of the crazy part, and this might be a little bit unrealistic, but I mean, once again, it was like the Cowboys. I went through each game and I just picked who I thought was going to win, and I mean, this is kind of how it came out in the end. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't have them winning a game in the division.
I think I don't have a winning game in the division.
Yeah, I have them 0-6 in the division, and the Eagles 6-0 in the division, and then the Giants and the Cowboys 3-3.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't think the Commanders are going to be good at all. I think that I like the new ownership group coming in. Like, I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see Magic Johnson and some of those guys be in ownership now.
It's no more Dan Snyder.
Who's
Exactly.
Josh Harris?
Yeah.
Josh,
Harris.
I think, but it's like a board. It's like
It's like a committee.
He's like the main one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. I think that could like usher in like a new era for Washington football. I think personally, they need to rebrand. There's been rumors of them rebranding after this season. I think that they should rebrand, like new name, logo, uniforms, everything. I think that this needs to be
New stadium.
no, definitely new stadium. They have the worst stadium in the NFL.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard that they might be moving to Virginia.
Yeah, they were rumors about that. I don't know if they've been like.
Are they
confirmed.
still? But like in Washington, still there, right?
Yeah, I think they'll still be.
They'll still be Washington,
but
their
Their stadium will be in Virginia.
Well, but because DC is
That's
It's
it.
right by. It's like
are
an
they,
hour
are they
drive.
currently in like Maryland or?
Yeah, they're in like DC
They're in
or a
DC.
suburb.
Yeah, but like DC is like Maryland
Yeah.
slash like Virginia too. It's like
It's that general
They're
area.
technically
Yeah.
in Maryland. So.
so if it'd be like
Geography 101.
it'd be
right
like
here.
is it like the Warriors going across the bay to San Francisco pretty much?
Kind of.
Yeah,
Okay.
or like the New York Jets being in New Jersey.
Yeah. But either way, they won't be like they'll still be at the Washington.
Yeah, they'll still be the
whatever.
Washington, but they could be in Virginia.
More of like a suburb of Washington then. Yeah, that makes sense. I that'd be cool. They need a new stadium, but basically my point is I think that it's time that Washington ushers in like an entirely new era of football. Like I think
it's a new regime.
they do. I think they need like I don't think their roster's cutting it. I don't mind Ron Rivera. I don't mind him as a coach, but I just don't think his roster's getting the job done. I like Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, obviously.
Yeah.
So that could be good. I don't like the roster. Dan Snyder drove that place into a garbage can, so it's good to see someone new in there. But
That's an understatement.
yeah,
That's an understatement.
I think they should go back to the Redskins. I think the Redskins was a classic franchise. They have like 3 Super Bowls. It's a classic name, classic franchise. I mean, I know it might offend some people, but I think that's just a classic, like franchise. But that's beside the point. This current year, they suck, but I do see a new era coming in.
Okay.
My NFC East predictions are similar to yours. I got the Eagles winning the division at 14-3. I have them going 6-0 in the division. I think like last year they were phenomenal. Like you said, the first half of the year they were undefeated. Jalen Hurts had an MVP season. I think he continues that. And they only got better. I mean, they added.
They didn't lose anything.
They hit on the draft. They re-signed Bradbury, Darius Slay. They lost.
Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, they lost Gardner Johnson and Javon Hargrave, which both were pretty big defensive guys. But
Hargrave went out to the 49ers.
yeah, he went to the 49ers. But they replenished that with some rookies that I think are going to make an impact. And I mean, they got AJ Brown, who's a top receiver. They got DeAndre Swift now to do that Miles Sanders role. They got Devontae Smith on the end there. So I think they have a really good team. I'm interested to see, though, because they lost both of their coordinators. So I'm interested to see how that really affects them with losing Steichen and Gannon, if that affects them a lot. But I still think that it's not going to do too much because obviously I have them going 14-3. But yeah, I think the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL. I think they're the team. Them and the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC. And so so I think 14-3. That's where I got them. Number 2, I got the Cowboys at 10-7. The big question mark is Dak. What version of Dak you're going to get? Last year, Dak was horrible, and from what it's looking like in camp, he's on pace to do the same thing. I think his over-under...
Or worse.
Yeah, his over/under I think is 10.5 picks, and I think a lot of people are hitting the over right now. So that's obviously not good.
Slam the over.
Yeah.
Over.
So I mean, he's thrown 9 picks in 3 practices, which I mean, I know it's preseason training camp. It's not. It doesn't really mean a whole lot.
It's like
but still,
legit scrimmaging though. Like
Yeah.
you get refs and everything.
Yeah.
Like
some of the balls, he's just trying to like make a play when there's not one.
Yeah.
So, but you can't doubt that Dallas has a talented roster. I mean, you got Tony Pollard. He's going to be the lead back now. You got CeeDee Lamb. They brought in Brandon Cooks, who I like. We'll see how Michael Gallup does this year.
Fantastic O-line.
Yeah, O-line's one of the best.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
defense is arguably top.
Best in the league.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you got. I mean, Micah Parsons, Trayvon
and I
Diggs.
feel like that could be a reason why they.
Yeah, their defense is gonna carry them a lot. So I got them at 10-7, second in division, around where they were last year. And yeah, number 3, I got the Giants finishing third. I got them going 7-10. Like you said, Daniel Jones is an okay quarterback. He's not great. He's not horrible, but he's not going to be leading you to the playoffs. A lot of their offense is going to have to come from Saquon Barkley, like it was last year. So he's going to have to carry that team because, I mean, outside of him and Darren Waller, who I think is going to have a big year this year, they don't really have a whole lot. They have every slot receiver you can imagine, and then they have Jalen Hyatt. So their receiving core is very iffy. So that's one thing. But I feel like Dable's a good coach. I like Dable as a coach. I feel like their schedule isn't super difficult. They play some good teams at the beginning of the season, but it kind of cools down towards the end. So I think 7-10 is fair. I have them missing the playoffs. And then the Commanders, I have them at 5-12, same as you, going 0-6 in the division. I think the Commanders this year are going to be underwhelming, but I feel like if you're a Commanders fan, you're coming into the season knowing you're not going to be good. You got Terry McLaurin, you got Brian Robinson, who's going to have a full year being healthy. You got Antonio Gibson, you're hoping he could be healthy. And then you got rookie quarterback, or second-year quarterback, Sam Howell, who we'll see how he does. He got a lot of hype going into the draft. I think he'll be decent. I don't think he's going to be, I wouldn't say he's their franchise guy, but I think if you see flashes, if you're the Commanders, depending on where you fall in this, and like pick-wise, I wouldn't be mad if they went Sam Howell for a second year. The defense, like you said, it's all right. They got some pieces, but it's not fully put together. But I love them getting Eric Bieniemy. I think that's going to completely change the offense. We've seen what he did with the Chiefs. He's been one of the main reasons why the Chiefs have been so well. Him and Andy Reid together is just unstoppable. And so I think he's going to help the Commanders a lot. There was that report that he was being too intense in practice, which is weird. But
That's so weird.
which is weird. But I think he's going to – yeah, I think like you said, if not this year, but in the years to come, I think the Commanders are going to get in a new regime, and I think they got some pieces to work with. But as of right now, they're going to go 5-12.
My NFC's looking like this. I also have the Eagles winning the division. I have them at 13-4, but they're obviously one of the best teams in the league. Jalen Hurts he was fantastic last year. He should be this year, and that team is just loaded. One of the best rosters in the league on both sides of the ball. I am interested to see how losing both their coordinators is going to affect them, like you touched on. And I have them at 4 losses just because we talked about it. They drew with the AFC West, who is arguably the best division in football right now. But, I mean, the Eagles should still be fantastic from start to finish. Second place, I also have Dallas. I'm a little bit higher on them than you guys are. I have them 11-6. We were talking about the Dak thing, and he hasn't been great in training camp. If he was in the AFC, it would be a lot bigger of an issue than it is in the NFC. Because realistically, if you look at the NFC, outside of Jalen Hurts, like
He's probably
great quarterbacks are in the NFC right now.
Yeah, he's probably the third best quarterback.
Yeah, which is saying a lot.
Who's the second
Or maybe
I don't even
yeah,
know.
I guess he would
Kirk
be.
Cousins, Jared Goff.
It's got to be Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
Fields
Geno
in there,
Smith,
Justin Fields.
maybe I don't.
Justin Fields still has a huge question mark
Yeah,
on him.
like we don't know. And really, outside of quarterback, that roster is also fantastic.
Yeah.
So, they also do in the AFC West, but outside of that, I mean, I think they're going to do pretty well in their own conference. They're in my opinion, like the third best team in the conference behind Philadelphia and San Francisco going into this season. So I think that if Dak plays well, the Cowboys could make it really hard for the Eagles to repeat as division champs. Yeah. Like we've seen Dak play all right in the past.
I just don't.
There hasn't been a repeating.
It's been
That's
like
the thing,
over a
like,
decade. Yeah, it's been like 10, 15 years since there's
I
been a
don't
repeat champion
foresee even if the Cowboys do go 12-5, even if they go 12-5 and they push the Eagles, even if they somehow won the division in place of the Eagles, I still don't see them doing anything in the playoffs.
Didn't they win a playoff game last year?
Yeah, they beat the Buccaneers. Yeah,
They killed the Buccaneers.
Well, yeah, I mean the Bucs were terrible.
I just don't see. I guess it just depends on how the playoff draws, but it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, I
personally,
think
for
the
me.
rest of their roster is good enough to make some noise in the NFC.
Yeah.
If they were in the AFC, I probably wouldn't have them making the playoffs at all, just because
Yeah.
I don't think Dak is the guy.
It's that defense.
Yeah, but that defense is really freaking good.
Yeah.
Third in the division, I have the Giants as well. I have them at 8-9. I don't really know what to think of this team. Daniel Jones got paid $40 million a year. It might be overpaid, might not be overpaid.
There's no might. He was overpaid.
Well, what else do you want the Giants to do? Just not pay him after the year that he
Tank
had?
for Caleb Williams this year.
Yeah, all right. The rest of their team is good enough to
Play
not be
Mike
enough to
Glennon.
tweak.
Play Mike Glennon.
They
But
need a
yeah,
receiver.
their defense is all right. Their O line's good. Saquon is obviously a fantastic running back, top 10 running back, easy in the league. Brian Dable's a great head coach. He proved that last year. They're just kind of mid to me.
They're just so iffy.
Yeah, even when they made the playoffs and won a playoff game, was anyone really scared of them at any point in the year last year?
They were one of the worst teams in the playoffs.
They won a playoff game.
I know, but
Yeah, they beat the Vikings.
Vikings.
They beat a 13-4 team on the road in the playoffs.
Kirk Cousins.
The worst 13-4 team in NFL history, but still 13-4 team. I don't really know what to think of the Giants. And then last place I have the Commanders as well. I have them at 3-14. My note here is bad team, worst quarterback. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't like their roster. Terry McLaurin's good, but outside of that, Chase Young's been underwhelming.
They got a solid running back
Robinson's
duo,
there.
I guess.
Yeah, they're backs are good.
Yeah, they're
And
unproven.
then they have. They still have a good interior
receiver,
defensive line, right? They still have a good interior
Because
defensive
Jonathan Allen and
Deron Payne.
Deron Payne.
Yeah, it's all right, but
They have pieces here and there, but
They
even
just need-
that's
they need
nothing to
Chase
write
Young.
home about.
They need Chase Young to.
the roster in and of itself is not good.
Even those pieces here and there that they have still aren't anything to be that's something to build on. You know?
I didn't put
I
division
wouldn't say.
records down.
Jonathan Allen could be.
I think I actually
Yeah.
I'd build on that defensive line.
Yeah.
Jonathan Allen could be, but
If you're
I
the
mean,
Commanders, I'd build on that defensive line. That defensive line
Could be good.
could be good.
Really
You
good.
gotta keep them healthy, but
Yeah.
that's the core that I would say is that's their big piece.
Yeah.
If you're gonna build around it right now,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did they just sign Allen or Payne to a deal?
I think
Was it
so.
Payne?
Yeah, I think they signed Payne to
I
it.
thought it was Payne. That is right.
they did.
Yeah. It was. It wasn't.
Who'd they draft?
They signed him with two
This year?
No clue.
It was a corner.
Yeah.
It was oh no. I was high on him this year. It was I thought the Bengals would take him at 20 back then. He was
All right, continue next.
yeah, continue Nick, sorry.
But I mean, I don't think
I think Forbes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
Forbes,
Emmanuel
Forbes.
Forbes. Good call.
Yeah, I don't think the team's very good. I didn't put division records down. I think I had the Eagles going 5-1 in the division.
Yeah.
All these teams hate each other whenever they play. The Eagles will not sweep the division.
No way.
There's no
way.
chance. They never sweep Dallas. They always have trouble with the Giants,
And then
unless it's
Commanders.
playoff last year.
And,
But
I
and
had
then the
I had them
Commanders is a
losing
coin
on them, but I
toss
switched it.
on the year.
the Commanders will probably play their best football against each of these teams. but
Exactly. And that's
That's just
it.
how it goes. But yeah, Commanders 3-14, and like you said, I just predicted every single game, and that's kind of how it played out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Valid.
I mean, you guys have hit on a lot of things. So, I mean, I'm gonna go through mine. I have the Eagles atop of the division at 12-5. Like I feel that running into the West, they're gonna have those tough games. You got the Chiefs, the Broncos, Chargers, stuff like that. But I agree with you on that. They are not gonna sweep the division.
No.
I actually had them losing to the Cowboys in Dallas.
I think that's the one game I had.
That's the one game that I think they'll lose of the divisional games.
I had them, and I was like, oh.
But, I mean,
I don't really care.
that team has proven so much, and I think Jalen Hurts takes another step this year. Bringing in, I mean, Miles Sanders isn't no scrub, but bringing in, like, DeAndre Swift. You have DeAndre Swift, you have Rashad Penny in there as another running back also. But that wide receiving core is nuts. You got Dallas Goedert, too, along with an amazing offensive line that has so much experience. And as we pointed on, the defense is one of the best in the league. They did lose some pieces, but they were able to fill in a lot of these pieces. You got Nakobe Dean coming in now this upcoming year, and he's probably going to be a starter. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a big one for them. But yeah, I got Eagles 1 in the division. I have Cowboys going 9-8 and making the playoffs. I think they'll be carried a lot by their defense, but I feel like, Dak's had a rough start, but I feel like he's going to be okay. He's going to lead them to a couple games, but I feel like the defense is definitely going to be a big reason why they make the playoffs this year, in how I have everything down. Giants going 7-10. We've stated it. Daniel Jones.
We all had them going 7-10.
Yeah, I have 8 and 9.
Oh.
Yeah. Daniel Jones.
It's in
It's
one
close
game.
enough.
It's one game.
I'm not sure about Daniel Jones. I love Saquon Barkley. I don't know. The man needs paid more than what he got, but because he's literally their entire offense. But that's besides the point. I just, as we said, it came down to it. I didn't see the Giants being a team having a run like they did last year of making that push. And then finally, I also had Commanders going 3-14. Like, I'm not, it's for me, I know the roster's bad. And like I said, if you want to, for future use, you got a front four on that defense that is amazing. You got Terry McLaurin also. Jahan Dotson, Young. Antonio Gibson wants to play wide receiver again. So you have Brian Robinson. I think Brian Robinson could have a good full year this year. But it's just, there's so much speculation. You don't know what's going to happen with Sam Howell, how he's going to be. So I just don't see them being very good. So 3-14 for me as well. But yeah. All right, we're going NFC North now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty.
NFC North.
This one is the one that I was telling you guys might be a little iffy on with me. But I had my hot take for this year. I have Bears going 10-7.
Ooh.
You guys may not believe it, but I am believing in the Justin Fields hype train. I think the moves that they made this offseason, they majorly advanced their defense, especially that front seven, bringing in T.J. Edwards and Edmonds. Like, you bolstered a lot. They've done a lot more. Plus, you got your tackle to protect Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields takes that step this year. And ultimately, I think this division is just probably, other than maybe the South with how bad it is, I think this is the closest division other than maybe the AFC North. I think this division is so close. I think Justin Fields takes the step. I think DJ Moore helps him take that step. And honestly, I'm very high on the Bears. I think they've done very well this offseason, and I think they can put it all together to make a push to get the division this year.
So you have them going to the playoffs?
I have them going to the playoffs. I have Lions at 10-7 also. I think the Lions are also in a position where they've set themselves up perfectly. That offense is amazing, led by the goofball Jared Goff himself.
Yeah.
I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I loved them going out and getting their guy. I think that's going to be a huge piece. I think David Montgomery is going to come in and fill that Jamal Williams type player or piece. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a stud. Sam Laporta is an undervalued guy right now. I think he's going to be amazing.
He's their starter, right?
He's probably going to be their starter. I haven't seen a whole lot, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say so because I can't even tell you another one on their roster.
I don't know either.
But Jameson Williams is there too once he gets past being suspended. And even the defense, dude. Like, their defense has made steps, but it's not the greatest. But bringing in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that's a big step in building that team. So I have them at my 2. Vikings at 9-8, making the playoffs. I have 3 teams from the NFC North making the playoffs this year. Vikings, I think it's more for me with that offense. I think Kirk Cousins is going to, when it's not a primetime game,
He's as good as there is.
he's exactly. when it's not a primetime game, he can play with any of
The
them.
best of them.
With the best. But it helps when you have Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson type guys. And I think Jordan Addison's going to be a very good addition for them as well.
I really hope so.
Of course you do. You drafted him in fantasy. I'm very excited to see how Alexander Madison looks this year, though, too.
You're a big Madison guy.
I love Madison, dude. I'm interested to see what he can do. Like, yeah, he's shown glimpses in the past, but I want to see what he can do with a consistently doing that. Their defense worries me some, but
They were one of the worst defenses last year.
yeah, they had one of the
I think
worst.
They were one of the worst pass defenses.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, they were
Yes,
worst
one of the
for
worst
something.
pass defenses, but I feel like they can make it. I feel like they've got the opportunity to make it. And then finally, I have Packers going 7-10. I just don't know. It's question marks again. Like Jordan Love, he hasn't played much. He's made glimpses, but like you don't know. And it's going from Rodgers to Love. That's a big change. I like Christian Watson. Their offense is very good, and I'm very excited for their defense. I love Jair Alexander, Adrian Amos. I love all those guys. I think their secondary's insane. It's just a matter of playing consistent. But I don't think it's the year for them this year. I got them going 7-10.
All right. My NFC North. First place, I have the Vikings. I have them 10-7. My note is, how is this team relevant? If they were in the AFC, they would get boat race because of their pass defense. But because they're in the NFC and their biggest threat in the division is Jared Goff, I don't think their pass defense is going to be as big of a detriment, at least in the regular season, than it would be otherwise.
So true.
They lost Dalvin Cook. They replaced him with Alexander Madison. I'm also a big Madison guy. He's really good when he's got his chances. And they also added Jordan Addison, who I think is going to be a worthwhile
Addition.
addition for that team.
Zach is
Flanking Justin Jefferson.
Zach
And, I
is
mean,
punching the air right now. He's so
you've got
excited.
arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. Historically great for his first 3 seasons. Hawkinson's a top 5 tight end in the league, I would say. And Kirk Cousins, when it's a game with little importance, can dominate them as good as any quarterback in the NFL.
He'll dot you up for 350 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. My fear with them is they won a lot of close games last year, like more so than any other team that's had that record ever.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, there was a lot of close games last year.
And usually when you win a lot of close games one year, the next year it kind of flips.
It comes back and bites you in the butt.
Because
Unless you get better.
Yeah, unless you get better. But I don't know if the
They
Vikings
didn't
have gotten
get, like,
better
significantly.
I was
enough.
gonna say.
But yeah, I have them 10-7. Second place, I have Detroit. I also have them 10-7. I think they had Minnesota at first off some tiebreaker. If it was up to me, I'd put the Lions over the Vikings.
That's what I.
But the site we used gave Minnesota the tiebreaker. based on the games we picked.
That's how mine was.
Yeah.
I had Lions being the one, but it had the Bears.
Yeah.
For me.
Their roster is really good. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic. Amon-Ra St. Brown is phenomenal. Their defense is young and should continue to improve. Jared Goff, I've been a big Jared Goff supporter over the offseason. He played like underratedly well last season. I don't think people were talking about it enough. The big question mark with this team is, I've been saying it all offseason, is can Dan Campbell actually coach? We don't really know yet.
Much like David Bell.
Yeah, I was
He
talking
can
about
talk
it.
a lot.
Don't
Everybody,
get me
his
started,
players
dude.
like him, but
We
Don't
were talking
get me
about it in
started.
the chat about David Bell being like the Dan Campbell of the MLB.
gosh.
That's a different story for a different day. But he's like, he's
to run a bullpen.
yeah, he's one of the guys, and everyone wants to see him succeed. He's great in the press and interviews, but he gets outsmarted a lot, especially when it comes to time management and personnel. And he's going to have to improve on that this year if the Lions are going to be a threat in the NFC. And I think it might take a little bit of time. But I think their roster is good enough, and based off how they finished last season, it should be well enough for them to at least get second in the division.
And quit worrying about trying to get a lion on their sideline.
Yeah. Quit. That'd be sick,
That would
though.
be sick.
That'd be so cool.
It's the no fun
the
league,
Colts are
guys.
shipping whales back and forth.
Yeah, shout out Jim Irsay.
Who's your
Pay
favorite?
your player.
Nick,
One of the worst GMs
We'll
in
get
the
to that
NFL.
in part 2.
Nick will go on this.
I'll go on a bit of a tangent.
And by the way, thanks for frustrating me about the Reds. I really appreciate it.
What a switch from last year to this year. Last year you said the Colts were going to go 11-6, and now you probably don't have them going
yeah.
anywhere close to that.
All right.
Make the AFC
Third, yeah. I didn't have them doing that well. I was really tempted to, but no.
It's egregious.
In third place in the NFC North, I actually have the Packers. I have them going 9-8, and I also have them making the playoffs.
Interesting.
My note for this is the NFC is so bad
Yeah.
because this team should not be.
I love your notes, Nick.
This team should not be anywhere near the playoffs because we don't know if Jordan Love is actually a good quarterback.
I think he's just unproven. Like I wouldn't
Oh,
say.
no, that's-
like he's
He's a top 10.
He very
10 quarterback.
he very well could come in here and be like good.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
Very
had a
well
big Jordan Love discussion a couple podcasts ago.
You guys
That's
should
still,
definitely take a
Go
listen
watch
to
that.
yeah, that was so funny.
That was funny.
And I was putting Mac Jones above him just because I don't know what Jordan Love can do.
But he's just absolutely not.
yeah.
We're not starting this
We're
again.
not doing this again.
There you go.
We're not doing this again.
But when Jordan Love did get his opportunities the past couple of years, he wasn't awful. And apparently he's been playing all right in training camp.
He's
So
doing really
I think they're going to be a run-heavy team. Their O-line's still good, and they have one of the better 1-2 punches at running back in the NFL with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And like you said, that defense, especially that secondary, is going to be phenomenal.
Huh?
Their D-line's pretty good.
Yeah, their D-line's good.
They got what's his?
They have Devontae Wyatt. Right?
They have Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary. They have somebody off the edge. I can't think of him off the top of my head.
Yeah, but I have the Packers at 9-8. We'll get to who they beat out for a playoff spot later. But that's just off tiebreaker. It's a pretty simple tiebreaker. They beat this other team when I pick game by games. But yeah, I think the Packers defense, their run game will do just enough. And Matt LaFleur is also a good head coach, which I think will matter a lot. And in fourth, I have the Bears. I have them going 7-10. My note with the Bears is does
Nothing like
Justin
7 and
Fields
10. Is that what
improve?
you said?
7-10 for the Bears.
Interesting.
My note here is does Justin Fields improve? Because I have absolutely no idea if he's going to improve as a passer at all.
He's definitely a wild card.
If he does improve as a passer, the Bears could win the division.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, they're in a world of hurt because they just spent a lot of money and resources revamping.
Yeah, he has no excuses anymore.
He has no, excuses are up.
And if he sucks again,
they will move on.
get rid of him and draft.
They're
someone else.
drafting a quarterback.
I think they did enough in the offseason to make them not the worst team in the league. by a comfortable margin.
Yeah, for sure.
But their entire season is resting on Justin Fields, and through the first 2 years of him playing, he has not shown me anything in terms of throwing the football.
yeah.
Like, obviously, he's a dynamic athlete. He's one of the best runners at the quarterback position we've ever seen. But at the quarterback position, the most important thing you need to do is throw the football.
Yeah.
And he has been
Especially-
historically bad at that.
Especially in the NFL.
Yes, especially in today's NFL. He's got historically bad pocket awareness. He's like one of the worst at avoiding pressure and taking sacks, which is partially due to the O-line being bad, but also at some point the quarterback has to be responsible for it a little bit. I haven't seen anything from the first couple of years that makes me think he's going to take that next step, and he very well could with the addition of DJ Moore.
Yeah.
But I was just predicting game by game, and in 50-50 games, I kind of go on the quarterback end.
Yeah.
I don't think Fields is that guy based on what I've seen so far. So
I was looking at Green Bay's defensive line. Yeah, they have Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Sean Gary, Devontae Wyatt. So they got a lot.
They got a good. They
got
got
a
a
great
pretty
defense.
good, pretty good defense.
Darnell Savage,
Solid defensive football.
Razul Douglas, Jair Alexander.
Razoo.
Yeah, there's Eric Stokes, dude. If Eric Stokes gets healthy,
Yeah, he's good. All right, my NFC North is I got the Vikings winning the division, going 11-6. But I do think it's going to be a tale like it was last year, where they're going to be 11-6. You're like, oh, that's a good record, but then they're going to suck in the playoffs just because.
their pass defense is so bad.
so
Yeah, their defense kind of is, and I don't trust Kirk Cousins in the playoffs. Actually, I mean he's been fairly decent in the playoffs, but he got saved by the Minnesota Miracle that helped them a lot.
No, that was Case Keenum.
that was Case Keenum.
That wasn't
Case-
Kirk Cousins.
Never
That was the
mind.
year before.
So I was correct. Because I'm not doing.
They did beat. Didn't they beat the Saints?
Yeah, that was the Saints.
Yeah,
that
they beat
year.
the
They beat
Saints
the
too.
Saints 1 year with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
what-
beat
yeah.
the Saints 2 straight years.
The Saints had like a 3 or 4 year window of just like terrible
Agony.
luck.
Pure and agnes.
Well,
It was so bad.
they had a 3-year Super Bowl window. Michael Thomas's prime, Drew Brees was playing really well, Alvin Kamara's prime. They had a window there where they could have been Super Bowl.
They should have
And
won Super
all
Bowl.
3 of those
Hey,
years they just got
pass interference.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
all
just
three-
Jared Goff
clean.
talked
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
what I mean.
All 3 of those years they just
Did
got
they call it? No,
absolutely
they wasn't
shafted.
Yeah. Did they call it? No. So it wasn't pass interference.
But anyway, I think you guys basically touched it. Justin Jefferson, probably the best receiver in the NFL. Their defense is shaky. Their defense is what is going to win and lose them games. And like you said, a lot of their games last year that they won were close games. So we'll see how that does. So 11-6 might be a little too high, but I still think they got a solid team around. So I think 11-6 is all right. And second, I got the Lions at 9-8. Like you said, the Lions have been building this team for 3 or 4 years now, and this year I think when they make the jump. But I still think, like you said, I just don't feel like Dan Campbell is like that great of a coach. I mean, he's a great player coach, but overall coach,
He's got some flaws.
yeah.
Yep.
So I think 9-8. Again, that might also be a little too low. I can see them probably edging out 10, but I feel like they're the Lions. It's hard for the Lions to like historically be a
This is
good
the
team.
most expectation they've had in genuinely 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So I saw one thing. It was John F. Kennedy's been dead for like 60 years, and he's only witnessed one Lions playoff win, and that was the only playoff.
I
win
want
that
the Lions to do good.
I do too.
I want to see them succeed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Rooting
bad.
for Lions.
Yeah. No, I do too. I love, like you both all said, I love their team. I love Jamar Gibbs. Amon St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league. Jared Goff is resurrected his career in Detroit. That defense is all right, but the offensive line is very good. Yeah, I mean, I think they got pieces. They just got to put it all together, and I think this year is one step closer to that. And then at 3, I got the Packers also going 9-8. We'll see how Jordan Love does. I think Jordan Love is going to be fine. I think he's going to do well this season. But I still think he's a wild card, you know? Just like Justin Fields, he's a wild card. So we don't know if how he's going to translate when it comes to real game time. But he's got some help with the running backs. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, like you guys said, are one of the best running back duos in the league. They've been consistent for forever. And the wide receivers isn't anything to write home about, but it's a decent group of guys. You got Christian Watson, who I think is going to be good. Romeo Doubs, who showed flashes last year, and then it's looking like Jaden Reed's going to be their third wide receiver 3 for Michigan State. He was really good at Michigan State. I like that pick. But like you said, their defense is really good. Their defense is going to be what wins them games, and in this division, like you said, Joel, it's all really close. So I got them going 9-8. Then the Bears, I got them going 6-11. I know that they did upgrade a lot, but I don't see Justin Fields making the jump that you see. I think he'll be better, but I still don't think he's gonna be this like I don't think he's gonna be like one of those guys where you get in wide receiver 1 and he becomes like a top tier quarterback. I still think he's got some stuff, but I do like Justin Fields. I mean, obviously Ohio State guy, but I think there's still some holes in this team. And yeah, I got the Bears going 6-11.
All right, well, you guys hit literally everything, so I'm just going to get on through this. I got the Vikings going 12-5, winning the division. I'm pretty sure it's the same record as they had last year. And I think it's going to be the same deal as it was last year. I think they're going to be not a great 12-5 team, and I don't think they're going to do well in the playoffs, but I think they're going to go 12-5 and win the division. I think the NFC is just not very good. I don't think their schedule's that difficult. I think they're going to have a 12-5 year. So at second in the division, I have the Bears, and I also have the Bears going 10-7. I don't foresee Justin Fields making the jump that you foresee, but I do foresee him being better. But on this, I made a lot of excuses for Justin Fields the last 2 years because
Of the situation he was in.
Yeah.
With Matt Eberflus and that.
Yeah, I made a lot of
Matt Nagy.
I made a lot of excuses for him, and I'm not doing that anymore. There's no more excuses to be had. So if he doesn't get it done this year, I think he's out. His career's on the line, I think, right now. But I think he will improve. I think he'll take a step forward. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be quite the step that you think, but I do think he will take a step forward. And once again, it's just not a very good conference, so I think they'll sneak out 12 or 10 wins. I have the Lions at third, but I also have them at 10-7. So
they're in.
So, yeah, no,
So all of us have 3 playoffs.
yeah,
Three NFC
I have
teams in.
those 3 teams going to the playoffs.
How are 3 NFC North teams in the playoffs?
I do. I have 3
Honestly,
of them.
it's
And I like the Lions better than the Bears. It's just like the way
NFC is so bad.
the way that I picked like the games and whatnot, it put the Lions at 3 instead of the Bears. But I actually like the Lions better than the Bears. I think the Lions have way more weapons and pieces than the Bears do. I don't know about on the defensive side if the Lions have quite as much. I mean, I know they have Aiden Hutchinson, whatever. I think he's overrated.
Their D-line is all right.
They went out
Their
and
secondary is a big question.
they went out and got Brian Branch this
And
offseason.
he's been balling.
Yeah,
in training camp.
Their linebackers also kind of.
I'm unsure about the defense.
Sanders is
Their
doing a
offense,
lot.
their offense is nasty though. Like they got a good
It
offense.
should be.
Well, it was last year even. They had a good
Yeah,
offense last year.
It should be really good again this year.
Yeah. And I'm pulling for Amon-Ra, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like the Lions here, but the thought when you were talking, the thought came in my head, like I have them making the playoffs. Yes, that's huge. I don't have them winning, and
We'll
like
get to that in
even
a bit.
even them going 10-7, it's like I understand there's all this hype and expectations around them, and they have a lot of good pieces, and they should be good on paper. But like for me personally, like they're the Lions, and that's how it always is. And I don't know why, but teams that are historically terrible like them usually don't do much, even if they have a team like
Bengals were
this.
the Bengals until 2020.
The Bengals were not historically as bad as the Lions or like
They
the
were
Browns.
still
They were
pretty
good,
historic.
Not historically. They weren't terrible.
They've
are.
had spurts.
Bro,
They have had
outside of
spurts.
like 3 years, they've had they won 1 playoff game.
They've had like spurts of good. The Lions are worse. The Lions are
Well,
historically a worse
obviously.
team. The
Well,
point,
also the
point I'm
Bengals
saying,
got like all of their draft, their draft.
They hit on all of them.
Yeah, they got Burrow and Chase and T Higgins.
the
who's better
Bengals
than
the
anybody
Bengals
on
got
that
the
wide
right
receiver roster.
infrastructure
They hit on
from.
very well on defense too.
The Bengals got the right infrastructure from top to bottom to completely turn around a
No,
franchise.
I'm just saying I don't agree with that mentality. That if a team's been
Personal-
historically terrible, they can't ever get out of it.
There's
Because
it's
the
a thing.
Bengals just did it like 2 years ago.
They aren't historically as bad as those two. In my opinion, the Browns and the Lions are the two worst historically teams in the NFL, and neither of the two of them have done anything since I've been alive and well before I've been alive. And that hasn't changed at all. So that's just why, personally, I think it's tough for me to do that. But I still have them at 10-7 making playoffs. Packers, I got 9-8. I'm high on Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love a lot. I think
Mac Jones.
he is better than Mac Jones, and that's a fact. I like Jordan Love. I think, and the other thing, like you mentioned, he's an unproven guy like Justin Fields. He is, yes, but I would even place more of a bet on Jordan Love because I know his arm is nasty. Like, and I know that he can throw the football. Justin Fields, I don't know that. Yeah. Outside of seeing him do it at Ohio State. But, anyways, though, I got the Packers at 9-8. Nasty defense. I like Jordan Love. I'm high on him. I like Christian Watson. I don't have him making the playoffs, but I have him at 9-8, which is good for Jordan Love's first year.
Before we go to the next division, I'm trashing on the NFC a lot, but I need to emphasize the point. I'm going to give you a list of 8 AFC teams, okay? Bengals, Ravens, Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Chiefs, Jags, Chargers. At least one of those 8 teams are guaranteed to miss the playoffs, and that's assuming teams like the Browns, Titans, and Steelers don't perform, and the Broncos do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have 3 NFC North teams
Each.
in the postseason.
And none of the 3 of them are really that good.
I'm gonna use the Chargers as an example right now. If the Chargers played the Packers, who's my 7 seed, bit of a spoiler, the Chargers would boat race them.
If the Chargers were in the NFC, they would be the second team, probably.
Yeah, you could make an argument they could win the conference.
They might even be third, honestly, but that's still beside the point.
Yeah,
But it's still.
Yeah.
If they're the 3rd best team compared to the 8th best team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, in the AFC, they're going to be 8 or 9. In the NFC, they'll be 3,
that's
probably.
just a point I wanted to emphasize. The disparity between these two conferences right now is probably the biggest I've ever seen.
It is
in
absolutely
the
the
NFL
biggest
ever.
I've ever seen. Absolutely. I mean, it is, like, black and white. Like, it's just not even close. Like, the NFC is just not even close.
I know there was a period where the NFC won, like, 15 straight Super Bowls in, like, the 80s and 90s. But in terms of, like, our lifetime, this is the biggest disparity in the conference I've seen.
I will say, though, that the top 2 teams in the NFC are really good and
they can compete with anyone.
very easily could beat any of those AFC
Yeah,
teams.
for sure.
Absolutely.
It's just outside of those 2,
They're very
there's
top.
nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's only 2 of them that
It's
are top.
bam, bam.
Yeah.
And then it's
Bam.
like a
Bam.
massive.
Like, one of those 8 teams I just mentioned is going to have a higher draft pick than the Packers.
Yeah.
And they would, like, the Packers are my 7th seed. They
Yeah.
would kill them.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be close.
You have like you said, you have the Eagles and the Niners, and then it's like a massive
it's
gap.
pretty
like
substantial.
you think the quarterback gap is big. This is bigger.
Yeah.
It is.
All right.
What division we doing
NFC
next?
South.
South.
I just,
Oh
I,
my God.
I
Oh,
just
I
had
have
to
the
make
I
that
have
point.
the East here or the West up next.
We can do the West.
We
I don't
can-
care.
Doesn't matter.
We can save the worst for last.
You're
Well, actually,
you're up. So
I have a bit of
Whatever you want to do.
I have a bit of
We're
a
on your time.
I have a bit of a surprise team in the South, so we'll go with the South.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's the surprise. I have the Saints taking it at 12-5.
Holy cow!
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
And once again, that is
Continue. Just continue.
once again the
is
NFC.
scorching.
The NFC is really bad, and that's kind of just how
Better than the Cowboys by 4 games.
their schedule is outrageously easy.
Yeah, but
I
Still.
understand that, Zach, but you have them going 12-5 and the Cowboys going 8-9.
Wait, so they're
I'm not high on the Cowboys
Explain
at
your
all.
reason.
Are
Yeah,
the-
please,
your reasoning.
please, yeah, please.
Are the Saints your 2 seed? 3 seed.
3.
3 seed.
Please explain this.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah, we need to.
It's not going to be convincing at all because I mean I don't really.
He's not convinced.
I honestly don't give a crap about. I could care less about the NFC East. It's just once again, it's how the picks came
Oh
in.
my god.
Like, okay, so I think I like Cam Jordan.
Alright.
And Chris Olave, I foresee Olave having a breakout year.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there's that. Derek Carr is an enormous upgrade, even Derek
Is
Carr.
he?
Yes.
I think he's an upgrade.
Derek Carr's an
too.
upgrade.
But who's Jameis Winston?
Yeah.
Or
Derek Carr.
Taysom Hill.
Derek
Taysom
Carr
Hill,
is
whoever.
a very large upgrade from both of those guys. I mean, I think Alvin Kamara, if he gets back, I think he's still a good back.
I'm more interested in Kendre Miller this year.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm interested to see what he does.
I mean, like I said, it's a terrible division.
Oh, the division's
Terrible
awful.
conference.
The Saints could
Like-
very well win the division, but
Yeah, like they're gonna. Like, I don't think 12 wins is egregious.
I do.
I don't.
That's pushing it.
It's a very bad, very
I have
bad
the
division.
Bengals at 13 wins, and you have the
Saints
Saints
at
almost
12.
the same record. I mean, no, it's vastly different schedule.
Yeah, it's like not even close. Like the Saints have a terrible schedule.
Saints,
That's
they
why it
play-
turned out that way.
They play the two worst divisions in the league in the AFC and NFC South.
That's why it turned out that way.
Their
Can I be
schedule
honest with
is
you?
enormous.
Can I be honest with you?
I went
I
through-
still don't have him that high.
I went through each game
How
and
did
just
they have
and
them win the
I
division?
I picked who I thought was gonna win, and that's how it turned out. They had 12-5, and I don't think the Saints are terrible. Honestly, I really don't. I think
Their
I think
roster's all right.
I think Chris Olave is gonna be really good this year. I mean, if Michael Thomas actually is healthy, he's
I don't
okay.
have him winning the division.
Derek Carr, seriously?
Dead serious.
We'll get to that.
Okay, that's a bad. This is a bad take, but that's also a bad. Take.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
No,
is.
it's not. Okay.
Who on
continue.
earth wins?
Continue. Just go. We'll get to that.
when we get to him.
Anyways, I don't really care if I'm wrong on this, but that's what had happened.
right,
throw a bit of a
Fair
curveball.
enough.
Throw a curveball.
I thought the NFC North was going to be the one that caused chaos. No, it's this one.
So at 2, I have the Panthers at 7 and 10. Whatever.
That's all right.
I mean,
okay.
I think Bryce Young is going to be solid. Yeah. I don't have much to say.
No, this division's
This
terrible.
is terrible.
It's a very bad division.
terrible
This
division.
should be the quickest division we talk
Yes.
about.
I mean, I'm literally just going to go.
Just go.
Go ahead.
I have crap.
Oh my! I'm looking at what your thing was.
Well,
How did you manage that?
I was gonna change something and I forgot, so I'm just gonna go back and change it now.
Just change it.
Saints are at 11. My bad, not 12. Either way, it's still probably a bad take, but
Go ahead. Just continue.
so 11 and 6 Saints, 7 and 10 Panthers. I got the Falcons at 4 and 14 at third.
4 and 13.
Yeah, 4 and 13.
Yeah, 4 and 13. Okay.
Arthur Smith, fire him immediately.
Big Arthur Smith fan over here.
Arthur Smith is the worst coach. He might be the
That's
worst
not
coach in the
true.
league. Arthur Smith is terrible. The Falcons have a lot of talent. They got Drake London, nasty receiver. Kyle Pitts is a generational tight. I mean, Kyle Pitts could be the best.
Supposed to be.
Kyle Pitts could be the best tight end in the NFL outside of Travis Kelce, but Arthur Smith is an absolute moron. Desmond Ridder is not good. He's a Cincinnati guy. That's cool, but he's not good. We'll see, though.
He hasn't had a fair shot yet.
He hasn't, but I'm not high on him at all. I'm being honest. I'm not high on him. We'll see, though.
All right.
I wouldn't mind if I was wrong about that one.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, Bijan Robinson's nasty. I liked that pick. I think they could theoretically win a couple more games, if Arthur Smith isn't a moron and their guys perform.
How many times are you going to call him a moron?
In my opinion, he is. Just give me a second.
So,
You think he's pretty bad?
can we say this?
I think Arthur Smith might be, in my opinion, two or three worst in the league. I think Arthur Smith is a awful coach.
I'm not going to say he's not.
He is a terrible head
Say he's
coach.
not.
but
He is a
Oh
terrible
my
head
gosh.
coach. I do AJ Terrell. I like him. AJ Terrell's really
AJ
good.
Terrell's a stud.
AJ Terrell's a stud, but I mean,
they have Jesse Bates also.
They do have Jesse Bates.
yeah, that's true.
Their secondary might
Their
be
secondary
They're-
looking nasty.
Their secondary will be all right, but I mean,
Shouldn't-
I don't think their secondary is going to
You
win
got
them.
Okuda in there if he can stay healthy too.
I don't think their secondary is going to win them football games, though. I think
Okay.
I don't think your secondary is going to come out and win you a lot of games by itself.
That's fair.
So yeah, I got the Falcons at 4-13.
How bad is the
How bad are the
Buccaneers?
Buccaneers?
I am just really hoping that
0-17.
I am just like hoping so bad that this is the year Arthur Smith gets fired. Like so bad.
Why are we still on Arthur Smith?
We just were like,
Like-
how bad is the Buccaneers?
I wasn't
be
done.
fired.
I wasn't done.
We get you don't like
So
Arthur
so
Smith.
you got your notes next to each team. My note here is fire
Arthur-
Arthur
fire
Smith
enough.
immediately.
You need to put a picture,
Now.
You need to put a picture together of Zach like yelling, going like this, and it's fire Arthur Smith above it.
I will.
Like he needs
For
to be
this
like
video.
he now. As I'm talking, the call should be made. Like he should not return. Like Arthur Smith should not be at the Falcons.
The call should be made.
Arthur Smith should not ever step foot on the Falcons practice facility ever again, starting tomorrow.
Be like Jamal Williams. Must have cut me.
Nah, this is cut me.
Arthur Smith should never appear at the Falcons facility again.
All right, move on.
So,
go-
anyways,
go ahead.
why are you rushing me?
Because you ranted
We
about
got 2
Arthur
divisions to go.
We got 2 more divisions to go, and we're already at an hour.
Well,
and we talked about Arthur Smith for like 10 minutes.
so,
Plus, I already know I already know your feelings on Arthur Smith.
Yes.
well, do you want me to not give you my reasoning?
No, I'm
Just
go
continue.
ahead with
Okay,
yours.
Buccaneers last. I have the Buccaneers at 3-14. I think the Buccaneers are going to be absolute dog
Would've been
crap.
like 1 game.
No, no.
I was hoping for something like that.
I have them being one of the worst teams
No.
historically.
Well, I mean, they're going to have the second pick based on my rankings. I mean, I think the Buccaneers are going to be absolute dog crap. Their quarterback
I
room.
can't really disagree with that.
They probably have the worst quarterback room in the league. I mean,
It's not probably.
okay, they do have the worst
Yeah.
quarterback
It
room
is.
in the league.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield is like the
It's
worst.
Kyle Trask
Like
time,
that
man.
is the worst quarterback room that I've ever heard in my life. I think.
I'm all in on Kyle Trask, man.
Yeah, that's terrible. They're awful.
Contrast.
However, I do think that the Buccaneers are right back in the spot that they were 3 years ago before they got Brady. I think that they have like a championship roster still.
Quarterback away.
Yeah, but this time it's not Jameis Winston, it's Baker Mayfield. So they're not going to win like 7 to 8 games like they did with Jameis, you know.
You can't have a 40 touchdown, 40.
30 touchdowns.
Exactly. So like they're not like he's
That's
like
what I meant.
they're not going to win 7 to 8 games like they did with Jameis because Jameis is vastly better than their quarterback room. So that's my take on the Bucs. I think they're going to have the second overall pick. I think they're going to be absolutely horrible.
Tell us how you really feel.
All right.
Go ahead, Evan.
I was blunt with that division.
All right. For me, I have the Saints winning the division, going 9-8.
It's only 2 games ahead of what I said.
You said 12-5.
I fixed it.
5 and then you changed it.
Yeah, I changed it because I needed to change my other rankings and I forgot to do it when I said it.
Okay, the 9-8. I have them barely going over 500. I like their offense. I like Kamara. And then I think Derek Carr is not great, but he's serviceable. I like Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is going to take a huge step this year. Michael Thomas.
That's exactly what I said.
I know. I said the same thing to you.
Continue.
I said the same thing to you.
Anyway, Michael Thomas, if he can stay healthy, I think he'll still be a valid option. I like Kendre Miller as well. The offensive line is not great, but defense is decent. I just feel like this division's terrible. Like this division is the worst division.
This is just
in
about
the
as bad as
NFL.
what the AFC South
South
was.
was?
Yeah.
This is worse
Can't
than
even
the
disagree
AFC
with
South.
that.
This is
No,
worse. This
so-
is worse.
No,
worse.
this year is significantly worse.
Yeah.
than the AFC
So
South,
this division's terrible. So that's why I have them winning 9-8. I don't believe in them at all. But
but fair enough. Someone's
Me
got to win
either.
the
Someone's
division.
got to win it.
yeah, someone's gonna win it. So, and then at 2, I got the Panthers going 7-10. I like Bryce Young a lot. I like Bryce Young. I'm just iffy on their wide receivers. I got their wide receiver 1 is Adam Thielen
Jonathan Mingo.
and a rookie Jonathan Mingo
And Terrence Marshall.
and Terrence Marshall.
I'm rooting for
And-
Jonathan
Oh, well, DJ
Mingo.
Chark's there.
Yeah, but
That's your perimeter guy.
I'm rooting for Jonathan
DJ Chark
Mingo.
has been okay.
He's been off and on.
Yeah.
He'll have games.
Terrence Marshall's been disappointing. Adam Thielen was good, but he's like 34.
He's a fossil.
Yeah, and
Jonathan
then Jonathan Mingo's a
Mingo.
rookie who could be good, but I'm not gonna say he's the overwhelming wide receiver one on this team. I like them getting Miles Sanders. I thought that was a good pick. They did. Obviously, they have a good defensive line with Brian Burns.
They picked up Hayden Hurst too, which I liked,
Yeah,
and Von Bell on defense. So
Yeah,
those
so
are
they
two
made a
big
lot. They made a
pieces.
lot of good.
They made some good moves.
Yeah, I just think 7 and 10 just because
Bryce is a rookie, pretty much.
that, and I mean, their schedule isn't anything crazy, but like I have them losing to teams like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I have them losing to the Titans, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I have them falling. I have them falling to like the Buccaneers. I have the Buccaneers beating them at Tampa one game. So like I have a couple of games where they probably could win, but
I think that's mainly just because Bryce is a rookie.
Yeah. So we'll see how Bryce does. I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be good, but I just don't think he has a lot of offensive weapons around him right now. So it's really going to be on that defense for them to win them games.
You watch Jonathan Mingo.
Hey, if Jonathan
Zach's
Mingo's
calling
good,
it.
that would be good.
Jonathan Mingo.
But
Offensive rookie of the
But you watch though.
Their defense is insane.
yeah, their defense is going to be the reason they win games.
Derek Brown, Brian Burns,
Yeah, good tight end.
Dante
Good little tight
Jackson,
end. Good running
Von
back.
Bell,
Good receiver.
Jason
Hayden Hurst
Horn,
is like a
Jeremy
mediocre
Chin.
tight end.
That defense
Hayden
is-
Hurst is not bad.
Well,
Yeah.
We saw him play last
That's
year.
because we had Joe Burrow.
Hey,
He's still
how
not
could
bad.
you
Bryce
guys
Young
forget
doesn't
about
suck
Laviska
balls.
Shenault?
I thought Laviska Shenault was going to be so good, and then he just
Jonathan Mingo's the guy. Watch it.
But my third, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I have them going 7 and 10 as well. They got Bijan, who's amazing.
Freak.
They got Kyle Pitts, who could be amazing if they get a quarterback. They got
And a new coach.
Yeah, they got a good offensive line. They got Drake London, who I like. The only thing I'm iffy about is quarterback. I do not think Desmond Ritter's good. They said that he's their future quarterback. I don't know what they're seeing in him, but I think they should try to draft a quarterback as soon as possible.
That's why you play the games, though.
Well, yeah. But I just don't think that I didn't really see anything from Desmond Ritter.
In those final games that he played last year.
Yeah, I didn't see anything to be like with Sam Howell. Like you saw his final games, you're like, okay, this guy could be decent.
There's something there.
Yeah, because he played well, and Desmond Ritter, I was like, yeah, he's gonna be in like same as Marcus Mariota. Like,
Yeah.
just yeah.
That
So
was my thought, too.
that's the only
Davis
reason.
Mills.
Yeah, but they did upgrade their secondary a lot. They brought in obviously they brought in Jesse Bates, which was huge. Their defense is all right, but I just think it's the quarterback play really for me that's going to bring them down. And then last in the division, I have the Bucs going 3 and 14. They have the worst quarterback room in the entire league. Baker Mayfield should probably not even be in the league anymore.
That's so sad to say. Too.
Yeah. Kyle Trask is horrible. The only reason I know who Kyle Trask is because
Florida.
He played with Kyle Pitts at Florida.
well no, it's because I was watching them play Kentucky and Felipe Franks was the starter. He got hurt and then Kyle Trask came in and won them the game. So that's the only reason I know who Kyle Trask is.
Also, Kyle Trask was crazy in the SEC championship game against Alabama.
Kyle Trask wasn't even bad at Florida.
No, he was good at
I
Florida.
mean, he
But-
was worthy of a second round
It's just
pick.
he's putrid.
But he's
now.
not going to be good in the NFL.
No.
I mean, they have Mike Evans, they have Chris Godwin.
They have
They
that
have
same
Rashad
Super Bowl
White.
roster pretty much.
Yeah, it's just the quarterback play.
Yeah.
The same as the Falcons. That's the quarterback play for me. So that's why I got them going 3 and 14.
I think it's the head coach for the Falcons too.
We get it.
I don't think Todd Bowles is like terrible.
I mean, he's not great.
He's better than Arthur Smith, but like he's not. I don't think he's terrible.
Yeah, he's not a great head coach.
All right.
All right, my NFC South. I actually have the Panthers winning this division. I have them going 9 and 8 though, so I don't think
That's
they
respectable.
have them winning it. Like,
like 13 and 4.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Zach to hear mine.
I know who you have winning the division just based on your face.
I have the Buccaneers. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I know who you.
yeah, I have the
them going
Panthers
15 and
15 and
15 and 2. Sorry.
yeah.
16-1.
I think the Panthers come out with this division. I think by the end of the season, Bryce quarterback.
What?
He is a quarterback. Bryce Young is going to be the best quarterback in the division by the end of the season.
I agree.
That's
with
not saying much at all.
It's not, but
yes.
that. I agree with that.
still. I think by the end of the season, he could be the best quarterback in the division.
I think by the
I
beginning,
mean,
he might.
his competition is Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, and whoever the Falcons, not the Falcons, the Bucks trot out. It's not looking It's not very hard.
Some guy pulling
that
off the corner of the
practice
street.
film
But-
of them is my
It's so funny. But their offensive line is actually like sneaky good, I would say. Ike Mekwanu, a bunch of guys. I think they finished like 8th in pass protection.
Their
last year,
their
whatever it
interior
was.
is not anything
Yeah.
crazy, is it? At least their guards.
I literally just said
Their tackles are solid.
Braden Christensen, Bradley Bozeman's solid.
Bozeman's good.
Austin Corbett and Taylor Moten.
Their O-line is good enough
Yeah,
to
it's
protect a
serviceable.
young quarterback.
Yeah.
I
I don't mind this Panthers roster.
No, I don't mind it either. Their defense
I
is
love their
very
offense.
underrated.
I like Bryce Young a lot too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I think I think Bryce Young is going to be the best quarterback in the division by the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure.
Their defense is really good. The addition of Miles Sanders is boring, but it's very
it's
consistent.
I think it's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good addition.
Like Miles Sanders, when you talk about like fantasy, just running backs in general, it's a very boring name, but there's a reason for that, and that's because he's so consistent.
Yeah.
He'll add a dimension in the running game that wasn't there after they traded McCaffrey away last season.
Yeah.
And also the addition of Frank Reich as their head coach. I also think he's the best head coach in the division.
I never thought Frank Reich was bad even at the Colts.
I didn't think he was a bad head coach either.
Like I don't think he was the reason the Colts were just sucking balls.
He just lost the locker room like midway through last season.
Yeah.
But I don't think Frank Reich is a bad head coach at all. He's going to get his pick of quarterback for the first time in his career. And I think he's going to be the best head coach in the division.
Yeah.
The Panthers are very young.
Yeah.
They're going to need another year or two to truly become like a serious threat. But someone has to win the division, and I think at the end of the day, the Panthers are going to be the best team.
The culprits.
Yeah, the culprits to come out and get destroyed in the first round. Second place, I have the Saints. I have them 8 and 9. I think they have the best roster in the division, top to bottom, but I don't think Derek Carr is good.
He's an upgrade.
It's not so I mean, who they had? Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and Taysom Hill playing quarterback last year.
They're bad.
Like, I just their roster, like you said, that Super Bowl window, it's getting up there in age.
They aren't even in the window
Yeah.
anymore.
No, I'm saying like the people that were on that
Yeah,
window
yeah.
are getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas can't stay healthy. Alvin Kamara's suspended for the first 3 games.
Cam Jordan's like 35,
Cam
but
Jordan's
he's still good.
35. Is Marcus Davenport still on that team or no? Yeah, I mean
Marshall Lattimore even he's like 29, I think now.
I just love Zach. Your reason for the Saints being good. You're like, they got Cam Jordan.
they got Cam
got
Jordan.
Cam Jordan.
Like, that was the first player you said was Cam Jordan.
But yeah, I
just thought that was
don't
funny.
think Derek Carr is good. I mean, he had that 1 year in 2016, and then we broke his leg, and he hasn't really been the same since. I don't think he's gonna pull a Matthew Stafford and revive his career on a new team. And I just don't think that roster is good enough. But Chris Olave is a stud. He's gonna be an animal for the next decade. In third place, I have the Falcons. I'm going 6 and 11. I mean, Bijan is going to impress a lot. Yeah, he's a freak, but I don't think Desmond Ridder is good at all, and that's kind of the big catalyst for why I have them as low as I do. And outside of their secondary, I don't really think their defense is fantastic either. Arthur Smith is not a good head coach. I know you've said it 10 times in the past hour, really 10 times in the past 10 minutes, but. I don't think he's a good head coach. I think if they don't do anything, they're going to kind of reset the front office. And fourth, I have the Bucks. I have them going 4 and 13. You've all hit on it. They have a good roster, but it's going to be held down by the worst quarterback play in the league probably this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think Todd Bowles is a great head coach. And in today's NFL, you kind of need your quarterback to step up. And
They don't even have one.
yeah, so it's like.
And a true quarterback.
Yeah, it's a true quarterback duo right now. True quarterback competition.
That's the word I was looking
Yeah. It's not good. This division is terrible.
Joel has them winning the division.
Well, yeah, I know that.
He doesn't have the Bucks, but I'm 99% sure I know who he has winning the division.
But yeah,
I do too.
the NFC South is terrible.
Worst division in football.
I'm sorry if you're a fan of one of these 4 teams.
It's unreal.
Better luck
bad.
next year.
Yeah.
No,
That's-
probably not
that's
next
about
year
it.
either.
We're gonna say that, and something's insane's gonna happen.
The Bucks are going to go 12 and 5 and win a
with
playoff game.
with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, or something. I don't.
Well then,
This
been smiling over there for a while.
To start things off, I have the Falcons winning the
I
division
knew
at
it.
9-8.
That is unreal.
It comes down to the final game between the Saints and the Falcons. I have the Falcons beating the Saints in the final game of the season to win it all. Take the division.
To win it all.
That's
That is
NFC
to
South.
win the NFC
What a
South.
coveted award.
I mean,
Why?
I don't see the Panthers making that move this year. I guess Bryce Young is gonna help a lot, but I don't know. Like, yeah, Thielen's there. Like,
Their
I'm not-
receivers
I'm not-
concern me.
and that's my issue. Like, I'm not enthused by their offense whatsoever. Bucks, as we've all said, Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield. Who take your pick? I don't care. They both suck.
Yeah.
Saints, I think it's going to come down to these two teams. I think personally, I don't think Desmond Ritter's the guy, but I think he'll be serviceable enough to make it happen.
I mean, he
Especially
has
when you
he
have
has
the
a
talent.
slew of weapons around him.
That's what I mean.
But see, that's my...
When you have the talent surrounding him of Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, even Tyler Algier as a backup running back. You got Cordell Patterson, who's a Swiss Army knife. Like, you have so
He'll
much.
probably be their slot receiver.
Right, he honestly might.
But see, that's my issue with Arthur Smith. The Falcons have so much talent. Like,
That's true.
they do. They have so much offensive talent, and none of them are good.
That's not even true.
That's not
Drake
even
London.
true.
Drake London
They
was
just
good.
don't use Kyle Pitts the way you'd want them to.
Dude,
I don't
Which
even
makes
think,
sense.
I don't even
Drake
think Drake
London.
London's
Yeah.
great.
He had what, like
Drake
800
London's
yards
good.
last year?
Yeah, he had like an 800, 900 yard season. He just got overshadowed by other receivers. Drake
Yeah.
London was good last year for a rookie.
Yeah.
They just don't give the ball to Kyle Pitts,
Yeah.
which blows my mind.
It blows my mind too. But I think Falcons take this one. I think the Falcons take this out this year at 9-8. I got the Saints going 8-9, losing that game, final game of the year, and not making playoffs. I think, as we've said, Derek Carr is an upgrade, but I don't think it's enough to. Like, somebody's got to win the division, as you said, and I think it's going to be the Falcons. I got Saints going 8-9, Bucks going 6-11, Panthers going 4-13.
Wow, you're not a big Panthers guy.
I'm
at
just
all.
not in. They just don't.
You have the Bucks?
Panthers
We're
being
hating
the
on
worst?
Panthers a little bit. to be
I had them
I
at
have the
7 and 10.
I have the Panthers the worst. I think.
You think they're going to be worse than the Bucks?
Did you not just listen to my reasoning with the Panthers?
Their receivers are not.
The receivers.
I don't care. The Bucks
You
have
at
the
least,
worst
if Baker
quarterback in
Mayfield,
the history of
I'm
football.
telling you this: if Baker Mayfield is in there playing with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and you have Rashad White in your backfield, that's a better offense than the Panthers
That's
is.
probably the best receiving room in the division. Maybe the Falcons. But
I am telling you that right now.
Yeah.
There is not there. It's not even close. You're comparing. You really think Mike Evans compares with Adam Thielen?
No, but I don't
No, it's
care.
not even-
Their quarterback is
It's not.
terrible.
It's not a contest.
I told
It
you
just
this
depends
earlier
what kind
too.
of-
The Buccaneers are going to be brought down by how bad their quarterback is.
Yeah. Well, it just
That's
depends
why I
what
have them
what
6
version
and
of
11,
Baker
man.
Mayfield.
That's
you get.
still.
Well, it just depends what version of Baker Mayfield you get.
Thank you.
Like if you get what was it, Baker Mayfield's first game with the Rams consistently.
Was it his only game?
No,
or did
that
he
was
play
his,
one more?
he played a couple more.
Yeah, and then the other ones were disappointing. But like if you have one game where he's just decent, like I still don't
He
think.
just has to
Man,
not
I don't-
crash the Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
I don't
he's
think
got
that
He's
the
going
license
to.
taken away,
Like,
4
yeah.
times.
Like, no, the Buccaneers are.
I just don't think it's the Panthers' year this year. I think they got a potential. They have the potential to be a lot better than this. A lot of their, the offense worries me. Like, yeah, you can rely on Miles Sanders all you want, but I don't know what Bryce Young's going to be able to do with his supporting cast.
I would be.
That is my
I-
reasoning.
that's fair.
I just think Bryce
It's a-
Young's going to be better.
It's
when
a
he gets
fair like that. Like I mean, your
I
reasoning
mean, with
makes
that being said, I still think the Bucks are going to be worse.
Yeah.
your reasoning.
fair.
Your reasoning
It's
makes sense. But one, Bucks are definitely going to be worse, and two, I'd be willing to bet money that they're going to win. The Panthers are going to win at least more than 4 games. Like, what'd you have them at 3 or 4?
4-13.
Yeah, I would. They're going to win more than 4 games.
That's
Didn't they win more than 4 games last year?
Yeah, like you think they're going to be worse with
They
Bryce
had
Young?
like this.
I think they won like 5.
His concern
6
is
maybe.
valid. I just disagree
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
That's fair, man. That's fair. It's just
I think their defense is
but
really good.
that doesn't change the fact that I have the Falcons winning the South Sac.
Well, that's. I mean, that I don't.
That's wrong. No, I'm playing.
I don't hate that.
NFC South.
I don't hate the Falcons. If they get rid of Arthur Smith, they could. I don't hate that, but it's
they got Arthur Smith, and they're doing it this year.
What I hate is the Panthers only winning 4 games and the Bucks winning more than that. Like, I don't think that's what
Why
I
do
don't
you
like.
have such a Buccaneer hatred? What did they do to you?
Dude, no, I literally like the Buccaneers. I just
He
think
was
their
saying
quarterback
today,
room
he's
is...
like, I really want the Bucks to get Caleb Williams.
No, dude, I like the Bucks. I just think their quarterback room is genuinely terrible. Like, I literally like the
them, what,
Bucks.
6-11? Yeah, it's not like they're going to be a good team.
Yeah, it's not.
I was just saying that, I think the Panthers are going to win more than 4 games, though.
I agree.
Yeah.
with
I agree with that.
I could very well see it, but this is just how my mentality.
All right, Joel. Last division.
I got the greatest division in the NFC. Maybe not really.
No.
Second.
Second.
We don't really know.
Obviously, I'm going 49ers. First in the division. I got them going 13-4, being the top seed in the NFC. Obviously they have somewhat of a quarterback. They obviously have somewhat of a quarterback controversy right now with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. But either way, I don't care who they're running or their quarterback is. They're gonna have a good team. When you have a defense like that and a supporting cast on offense of Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk,
Oh my holy
Elijah
weapons!
Mitchell.
Oh my gosh,
That's
their offense
Gatling
is
gun
so good.
and then you have the best offensive lineman
in
in the league
right now.
in Trent Williams.
And the best
Defense.
defense.
In the best defense.
And a
This
top
team,
5 head coach in the league.
this is the most, in my opinion, this is the most complete team,
Balanced team in the league.
most balanced and complete team in the league. Yes.
Dude, Kyle Shanahan can make like any quarterback good.
Kyle Shanahan's a freak of an
It's-
offensive
it's-
Insane.
I don't think
quarterback-friendly
there's.
system.
Don't get me wrong. Seahawks have made moves to make improvements,
But nobody's touching.
but nobody's touching the Niners at all. No.
barring their entire team being injured.
Barring Brock Purdy's arm getting shattered,
Again.
they would have went to the Super Bowl last year.
Exactly. There's no
And
doubt. in
so
my mind.
we'll see
They
how
very
he
well
comes.
could have.
Yeah, we'll see how
I definitely would have had the 49ers winning that.
we'll
game.
see how he
With a
fares
healthy
because
I think I had the 49ers.
UCL is pretty significant.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what
significant.
that's what Josh Allen had a couple years ago, and then Matthew Stafford had last year.
Yeah.
Both of those coming off of an UCL injury, they had down years. So
Well, now look at him though. Allen at least.
yeah,
I don't think that really affected it too much in the long run.
My number
no,
two.
but he was kind of
Yeah.
Well, it's just the UCL.
After
that's,
that-
that's a major ligament.
Yeah, it's
injury.
like-
Oh, I know.
It's
I'm just
the
saying.
ACL for your arm.
I know.
That always worries me. But
It's
yeah,
a worry.
Josh Allen has bounced back. Very well.
I'm not too overly worried about that particular injury.
Continue.
And then my number 2 is the Seahawks missing the playoffs at 9-8. I like what they have going, especially on their offense. You got DK, you got Lockett and JSN, plus Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. But Geno made an insane turnaround last year. I don't know how long that's going to be sustainable. And obviously I have them doing enough to get by, but it's not enough to make the playoffs for me. I like pieces on their defense. Woolen's a stud. Is it Jamal Adams, right?
Yes.
Jamal Adams is a freak. They have pieces. It's just I don't think they'll do enough to make the playoffs this year like they did last year. Rams, I have them at 5-12. It's nice getting a lot of the pieces that they were missing back. Matthew Stafford back, Cooper Kupp back. But you also have to realize now that they have quite possibly the worst offensive line in the league.
They are in a rebuilding stage.
They are in a very big rebuilding stage. They threw all their chips in for 1 year, and now they're dealing with the repercussions. Any team that has an Aaron Donald, that's amazing. Good for them, but I don't think they're going to do. Outside of Aaron Donald, I don't see much. And Cooper Kupp. Cam Akers, I think, will have a good year, though. I think Cam Akers will be very good. But I have them going 5-12, and then Cards, I got them going 3-14. Kyler Murray missing however long he misses. You lost D-Hop. Your defense isn't anything special. It's actually pretty terrible. The offensive line isn't anything really either. I mean, you lost J.J. Watt on your defense.
Who's their best defensive player?
Isaiah Simmons.
I like Isaiah Simmons.
But he's...
I know Buda Baker requested a
Buda
trade.
Baker did request
But he's still
a
on the
trade.
team,
He's
right?
still technically
Yeah.
on the team. So it's probably Buda Baker.
Yeah,
I would say Buda
Because
Baker.
they had
He might-
Zach Allen. And Zach
Well, they
Allen
had
went to the Broncos.
Byron Murphy too.
Yes.
They let him go to the Vikings.
Didn't Zach Allen go to the not the Vikings but Broncos?
I think so.
Because
He went somewhere.
he was a defensive end and he got paid very nice.
Yeah, he went.
It was like one of those under the radar ones. Like, I'm not saying he's gonna be like him, but like it went under the radar like like Trey Hendrickson did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see them doing a whole lot this year. I have them winning 3 games, so yeah, Cards 3 and 14.
All right, my NFC West. I also have the Niners at 13-4. The only thing that can stop this team is their quarterback play. That's just the reality of the situation. If they have a competent quarterback, they should be one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Like we said earlier, I think they're the most balanced team, top to bottom, in the league. And they have, like we said, one of the best O-lines, one of the best offensive weaponry.
We forgot about Fred Warner.
Yeah, Fred Warner. They have all pro level players at every position outside of quarterback. That is insane.
Yeah,
That is nuts.
pretty much.
They have all pro receivers, all pro running backs, all pro O linemen, all pro linebackers, all pro defensive linemen, and all pro corners and safeties.
I'm trying to think of who their corners and
They
safeties.
had like
I don't really know
the safety.
the
I can't remember his
safeties.
name, but he was first team all pro.
Oh, he was the one that was like came out of nowhere,
Yeah,
right?
he was like first team all pro last season. I mean, they're the best roster in the league, and I don't know if it's close. Second place, I have the Seahawks at 9-8. I also don't have them making the playoffs. They lost to Green Bay on a tiebreaker. I thought they played head to head, but I'm looking at the Seahawks schedule and they don't. So if it was up to me, I'd probably put the Seahawks over the Packers. But I mean, they just had the Packers as tiebreaker over the Seahawks. Their receivers are good. Kenneth Walker could be all right. I just don't know how sustainable their success last year was. Because if Geno Smith didn't perform, like, they probably weren't a playoff team.
Yeah.
But their receivers are really good. Their defense, I think, as a unit, is kind of overrated, but they have some great players like Tariq Woolen, Jamal Adams are great, but the rest of it's kind of eh. Pete Carroll's a good head coach, but ironically, you think he's the third best in the division, which is saying something. I have the Rams at 8-9. I think with their team getting healthy, they will be better than their record last year, and I think Sean McVay is a good enough head coach to get the best out of players that otherwise want to be very serviceable. I just don't trust Stafford off the injury that he has.
Yeah.
And the NFC is bad enough to the point where their record will be a lot better than they actually are. But, I mean, if you have Aaron Donald, that's a force in and of itself on defense. And then I have the Cardinals at 2-15. They are going to be the worst team in the league, bar none. I don't think it's going to be close. Like, honestly, what bright spot do they have on that team right now?
They don't.
They don't have a bright spot.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's James Conner,
Like,
guys.
what? You look at that team. This is assuming Kyler Murray doesn't come back, which I don't think he will this year. Like, what do they have on that team? They have a terrible defense, an awful offensive line, bad receivers, Colt McCoy is their quarterback, and an okay running back.
They got Buda
And a
Baker.
first-year head coach.
They got
like-
Buda Baker, man.
He's not going to be a Cardinal in October. They're going to trade him. They should trade him. They need to do a full rebuild.
I know.
But here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to start the year off 0-6 or 0-7 or however long it is till Kyler Murray's able to come back. They're going to not win a game based on their schedule. And then they're just not going to bring Kyler Murray back and take for Caleb Williams. And they're going to draft Caleb Williams and get rid of Kyler Murray. And they're going to start a full rebuild.
Yes.
That's what I think is going to happen with the Cardinals. I don't think, like last year, there was like 3 or 4 teams that I was debating as the worst team in the league. But looking at training camp, looking at the roster, looking at the schedules, I think that it was a pretty clear choice for me as to who the worst team in the league is going to be. And I think it's going to be the Cardinals this year.
Yeah.
They do have Hollywood Brown, which, I mean,
They have Colt McCoy.
They don't have anybody in front of
that's
the
the
ball.
issue. And then they did go out and draft Paris Johnson this year.
Yeah, but that's one.
That's one
one.
I know, that's
person
one.
on the
Okay, that's
unit.
that. That's
No,
your,
I know,
That's
I
your
know,
like.
I know.
That's your like franchise left tackle. So
Right.
they don't have anything else,
have
but
a
they
right
got that though. So I mean, or right tackle.
They have him on their def.
Well,
Yeah,
probably
Paris
play
Johnson.
left.
Either way,
They had a good draft. I thought they played the draft really well, but
Yeah.
they're also all rookies. So
yeah.
it's like,
I was looking at the 49ers depth chart. They have Javon Kinlaw as a second-string defensive tackle.
that is crazy.
And Cleveland Farrell as a backup rush defensive end.
They can, not only do they have the best defense in the league, but they can also switch guys out
Taco Charlton.
to give their best guys some rest.
Remember,
So they're fresh on plays that actually matter.
it was Hufanga.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah. Go ahead, Evan. Sorry.
crank it out, brother.
All right.
Crank it out.
49ers. Nick took the words out of my mouth, so I'm not really gonna touch much on them. They're with decent quarterback play. They're probably the best team in the entire conference. At 2, I got the Seahawks going 7-10. I love their roster. I like Kenneth Walker. I like Charbonnet. I think they hit the draft. They got JSN, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Their secondary is pretty good with DJ Reed. Not DJ Reed. He's on the Jets now. You got like Jamal Adams, and then they brought in Devon Witherspoon, and they got some other guys as well. But I don't see Geno having the same impact as he did last year. I think Geno's still going to be a good quarterback, but last year he was like really good, and I see him taking a step back. And so I have them going 7-10. The Rams, I have them going 6-11. I think with all of them being healthier, that's going to help them a lot. They're going to have a healthy Cooper Kupp, hopefully, if this hamstring injury isn't nagging. Stafford, we'll see how he does. I'm still iffy on him. Cam Akers, I think he's going to have a big year this year. They got Tyler Higbee, who's a good tight end. And, I mean, you still have Sean McVay as a coach, who's a great head coach, so that's going to win you games. But like you guys said, they're in a rebuild. I still don't think they're great, so I got them at 6-11. And the Cardinals, I have them at 2-15. Like you guys, guys both said
This
it.
guy
I mean,
gets it.
they're really bad. Like you got Colt McCoy if the Cardinals are lucky, you got Colt McCoy starting for 6 weeks, and then Kyler Murray is going to come back. But I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be back by week 7. I
Do
think
you even think he's going to be a Cardinal?
I wouldn't be
They'll
surprised.
keep him for this year
Yeah.
to make sure he's fully healthy.
No, I meant for next year.
I wouldn't be
If you have
surprised
the
if he's
first
not.
overall
No.
pick.
No,
If they have the first overall pick, I'm trading him 100%. But and then you got like James Conner. I think
He's all right.
he's a solid running back. I mean, nothing crazy, but you got Marquise Brown, who's good. Rondale Moore is hot and cold.
That's a
And
nice way of putting it.
yeah,
He's capable.
yeah, capable. And the only other player that I think is relevant on the offense is Paris Johnson.
That's about it.
Who's their starting tackle?
I'm interested to see if, like, I know Ertz is out for a while. I'm interested in Trey McBride
Trey McBride could be.
because he was a freak
Yeah,
coming
going
out
into the
last
draft.
year.
And then defense, like you said, there's really nothing to write home about. Their best player is Budda Baker, and he's requested a trade.
He
so
most definitely will not be a Cardinal this time next year.
yeah, so he'll get traded probably at the deadline, or he'll just not be on the team next year. But yeah, I think they lost D-Hop, which hurts. I personally think they should have tried to trade him away instead of
I
just
think they
losing
tried
him.
to.
They did.
Well, they wanted a first-round pick for him. I don't know what they're
Yeah,
thinking.
that was stupid.
You could have gotten a third.
A third,
Yeah.
potentially a late second.
Yeah, you could have gotten something for him. J.J. Watt retired. That hurts. And then I think them losing Byron Murphy is huge. I think Byron Murphy was really good, and they kind of just let him walk as well. And I'm also just interested to see how Jonathan Gannon does. I mean, he's a defensive coordinator from the Colts, so he's more of a defensive guy, but I don't really know. Like, the key pieces on this team are offense, so I'm not really sure how his offensive game's going to be. So I'm a little worried about that.
I'm
as
interested
well.
to see how he'll use Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, that's we were talking about that today. Yeah, because Isaiah Simmons, he's been kind of disappointing, but that's just because he's in this like gray area where he's not big enough to be a true linebacker, but he's too big to be a true safety. Yes. So he kind of splits in between. So, yes. But if you have the right coach, I think you can utilize him well, and I think Jonathan Gannon can do that. But I just don't know how his offense is going to go. But yeah, I think the Cardinals are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year.
Okay. All right. There's not much to be said because you guys kind of took all of it out there already. Niners 13-4. They win the division. I think that the 49ers from top to bottom have the most complete and most stacked roster in the NFL. I think Brock Purdy is going to be okay. I hope. I hope.
Trade. So do you trade?
Absolutely trade Trey Lance. I'm not high on Trey Lance at all. I would absolutely trade him.
I think there's something there that there's potential.
I think
So then absolutely trade him.
I think it's fair to not be high on Trey Lance, but I also, like, with Jordan Love and all that, I don't think he's gotten a fair shot.
Yeah, but I think it's an absolutely trade him. Not even a question. I think Brock Purdy's better. As long as he recovers from his UCL. But anyways, though, that's the end of that conversation. I have the Rams here at 7-10. I think that it's going to be huge for them to get most of their like Super Bowl starters back, even though they're aging. As long as Matt Stafford comes back okay from his elbow, I think they'll squeak out 7 wins between Stafford, Kupp, and Donald. But there's not much to write home about, though. They are in a rebuilding phase for sure, reaping the benefits of their all-in super team.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
That team was unfairly loaded.
And they still should have lost. But anyways, though, so here I got tied with the Rams. You can flip them. I don't care. I got the Seahawks at 7-10. I agree with you. I don't think Geno Smith is going to be able to keep up that success from last year. I think that was kind of I don't want to say a fluke, but I do kind of mean a fluke.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think it was a summer fling type of deal, you know.
What?
No, that's a blooper.
What?
That is not a
That is
blooper.
one of the best analogies I've ever heard.
No, I think the best analogy was
That was the best. That was the
Batman
best.
one that you did.
Oh, that
That one
was
was
a classic.
that one was the best. But
It's like
comparing New York City to like the slums of Delhi. Like it's
that's not even what you said. You said comparing Wall Street to some Indian city.
Oh yeah, I did
That's
say
what
that.
you
we were
said.
just like, what?
But anyways, though, I think that's fair. I think Geno Smith and the Seahawks were a summer fling. I think so. I don't foresee that happening again. I think that they also need to rebuild. I think they got weapons around. I mean, Metcalf, JSN, good. Kenneth Walker, solid. Tyler Lockett's like 30, so he's kind of.
Tyler Lockett is a stud.
He is
Yeah.
a stud, but I'm just saying he's going to be kind of on his way out at some point.
I wanted him in
Really
fantasy.
wasn't.
He is a
also
stud.
want him in
He is a
fantasy.
stud, but like he's not like a part of the future of the Seahawks.
Yeah,
He's
but
consistent.
he's still really freaking good.
Yeah, he is, but that's just my point. I said my point. Anyway, 7-10. So here we come to the dreaded Arizona Cardinals. 0-17.
No
That's
way.
bold.
No way. No way.
You don't have them winning a game?
No,
You
sir.
know how hard it is to
Are
not
you
win a game in
kidding
the
me?
NFL?
The
They
Arizona,
will win one game.
the Arizona Cardinals.
I think they play the Texans.
The
They do. It's in
okay.
Houston.
The Texans are better.
The
Yeah,
Texans
I
are better than
know.
the Cardinals.
But
Anyways, let me finish. The Arizona Cardinals, I think, have potential to be a historically bad football team. This year's Arizona Cardinals has a very real shot to be one of the worst teams ever fielded in the history of the NFL.
I mean,
They aren't even listening.
did you watch that training camp?
That's
was
why.
really
That's
it
why
was
I'm
very
thinking
bad.
that.
Sorry.
This year's Cardinals has potential to be the worst team
We
ever
were just looking at
yeah.
their schedule.
ever
There's
fielded
definitely some winnable games.
There's
ever
4 games.
fielded in the NFL.
There's 4 games that we can see potential for them to win.
Yeah, I could see them beating the Commanders week 1. I could see them beating the Falcons at home. I could see them beating the Texans, and I could see them beating like some random team like the Bears. I don't know.
They
Or the Rams,
like the Rams at home or
Rams at
this
home,
is going to be
Seahawks at home.
this is going
So are
to
you making this that Kyler Murray does not play this year?
yeah. Kyler Murray don't play. They trade him. They draft Caleb Williams, and they completely rebuild. They have
Brought up that idea.
They have not
was me.
they have not one single bright spot on this entire roster. Not one. Not one. So I mean, we hit it. I mean, I have all the same points. I just have them winning West games. So
Obviously.
there you go.
Obviously.
They are the one pick. They get Caleb Williams. That's
I have a question for you.
okay.
Beaver. You have the Saints 4 games better than the Seahawks. What do the Saints have that is significantly better than Seattle currently has?
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear this.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I really
Four
don't.
games better. You'd think there'd be like a spot or two where the Saints just have a clear advantage, right?
I think their division's worse. I think they have an easier schedule. I mean, other than that, that's about it.
4 games.
I wouldn't say 4 games.
I think they're all bad. But
I think the Seahawks receiving room is really
Good.
freaking good. Their O line is Their Kenneth Walker's solid.
Their O-line's young.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's a young offensive
I just.
line.
I don't.
I don't think the success is going to be super sustainable either, but
Yeah.
4 games, that's
We can forget about the Saints thing because one, I don't care, and two, that's just how it felt.
what?
So,
You just rescind your take.
but yeah, Cardinals are really bad.
Falcons take the NFC South and they re-sign Arthur
Arthur
Smith.
Smith.
Arthur Smith has gotta go.
And on that note,
Yes.
Should we go over seeding? Like, we list our playoff teams for the NFC?
I was
we'll
gonna
do that during the
Do that
playoff.
during the playoff one.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for our NFC predictions. Let us know if you agreed with our predictions or not. Stay tuned for the AFC predictions upcoming here soon. And, yeah, peace. Have a good day.